cross the gun line. Yeah, you know that I'm on my grind. Yeah, I'm self-paid, self-employed. I gotta get paid, homie, I gotta get paid.
What is up, everybody? We are back on another episode of Self-Paid. Boom, boom, boom. Yo, we actually got a sign now, so it looks good.
Like 3 weeks in the making.
Yeah, it took us a minute, but we finally got a sign. My name's Dom. We got Alex
here.
We have two special guests today. We have Andy and Angel. Introduce your guys. Let them know what you're like. Where you guys from? Everything.
So my name is Andrew Garcia. This is my brother Angel Garcia. We work in real estate.
So I kind of heard. Okay, so it was like with your dad. You guys had like it was your dad's company.
Basically how we got into the business.
How you guys get into it?
So basically, he got me into the business.
My dad got him into the business. Well, I'll let him kind of touch on that first.
But my dad was doing real estate for about 25 years now.
Okay.
And basically he originally actually didn't want my brother to be in real estate.
Why?
For certain reasons. I'll let him kind of touch on it because he's got a whole story behind it.
Okay.
Basically,
he didn't want him in it. He kind of forced his way into real estate, and he basically took over the whole business at that point because he
that's why he didn't want me in it.
I don't want you to take over, but he basically took over the whole business, and he had a different style of going about it.
Okay.
I'll let him kind of touch in on that, but
he brought me in shortly after.
So it was so your dad was in there for 25 years. He brought you in first or him first?
So what happened was I was in high school, right?
Okay.
The real estate market had just crashed, right? So 2008, the real estate market crashed. I graduated high school in 2010, and like it's going in the hole. I don't know if you guys might be saying shit or not, but
no cussing.
Okay, so the real estate market was tanking, and it got really bad, right? Where foreclosures were happening, like everything in the world was going to hell. He immediately, his first instinct is go to school, continue going to school, and go do your thing. Well, my entire life, I was thinking, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna get into real estate and get into business and this and that, right? So that was like a shock, right? But it was just bloody, right? Like the streets were filled with blood when it came to real estate, literally, right? Like people were offing themselves. So he didn't think it was a good idea for me to get into it. I really wanted to get into it, and we also were fighting a lot at the time.
For what reason did you want to get into it when he was saying no?
It's more dude, since I was like 8 years old, I would go to the office with my dad. So I was assumed that I was going to get into something similar. And I grew up reading little books about it and reading like mindset books and different things with different mentors. So it was just like naturally, I just assumed that that's what I was going to do. I even have like old little book reports or like assignments, like where we had a like English class. And I said, all right, just write out what your plans are for the future and this and that. And if you look at that paper from like 2007, I like wrote out my master plan of me going over and taking over the world. Right.
Yeah.
But it involves me going straight into real estate right afterwards. So that was just like my vision as far as what I was going to be doing.
That's sick.
But as soon as I got old enough, market tanks. It's like that episode of that movie, like Wolf of Wall Street.
Okay.
So where he's like, it's my day to take over the universe, and then the market tanks, and he's like, what's going on? Everybody's going crazy. That's kind of how it felt, right? So I go to school. I ended up going to Santa Monica College, and naturally I gravitated towards sales jobs. And then I started doing really well in sales. And then from there, I found my way into real estate. The way that I kind of like busted the door open was I was working I was working like a bunch of different jobs, but I started working as a personal trainer at LA Fitness.
That's fine. I used to do sales at LA Fitness.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So so same thing. So you know how LA Fitness? What was your position?
I was the AGM, like the assistant general manager.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So real similar concept. So I was the personal training director.
Okay.
So I started off as a personal trainer. Yeah.
I bet.
So
that's why I'm Andy.
Oh, bet.
So for me, it was through Bally's originally, right?
Before
but LA Fitness. Yeah. Oh yeah. So I started with Bally's, and at Bally's, the personal training job and the sales job were one and the same. So you had to go get your own clients, right? So what happened was I started doing really well after I had a little breakthrough or like a little breakdown and then breakthrough.
Yeah, of course.
But I took off after that, right? Once I took off, I became like number one in the club, then number one in the region, and then LA Fitness took over.
Nice.
And then I started doing really well with LA Fitness, and then they promoted me to personal training director, and I became number one in the nation. But it happened a little bit at a time, right? So you know how they had the King of the Hill?
Yeah.
So King of the Hill, so I was King of the Hill and shit. So I love that shit. But the basically every time that I would reach some sort of like accolade or achievement with it, I would come back and be like, "Yo, Dad, so check this out. I'm number one in the club or in the world, in the area." And then it was funny. Is like they're not real salespeople, man. They're just just selling personal training. Come on.
Right.
So I was like, all right. He's like, just keep doing it. It's all about consistency, anyways. So,
but even selling personal training is kind of hard because you got to convince somebody that like you need me to like make you, to the goals that you are. So that's not.
That's why he's so strong, huh? Because of you.
Yeah.
That's why he's the way he is.
We'll get into that.
I was like, the gym is a different topic.
There's a reason I am.
We don't have to talk about that.
But go ahead.
No. So I was saying that I was bringing this back, and to your point, like you have to learn how to pitch, right? You have to learn how to listen, right? Yeah. So I would come back and I would say, hey, well, I want to work on this craft. So what do I do next? So you recommend little books and stuff like that, right? And like Tom Hopkins, like some of those old school sales guys.
Books, yeah.
And I started studying them and practicing them, and then I started again. Just it was just like a fucking rocket, right? So every month I was like number one in a bigger region, right? Yeah. So it was like I forgot how they broke it down. It was like the club. And then it was like the county, and then I think it went down to Southern California, then it went to California, then it went to the western side of the United States, and then it went to the United States. Yeah. So it was every single month, it was like this new thing, and I would come over real proud and like, do this, and my dad's like, keep going, keep going, and I could tell that, he was kind of like, maybe, like kind of on the fence there, and I remember I was not like halfway through the country, and I'm like I'm already getting here, and he's just like consistency.
You don't think he was doing that to like push you more though? No. He was just like, no, that ain't it to me.
He was just hard on you guys. Just
I think he just wanted us. He wanted us to get that college, have that college diploma. Right? And that was like his main thing. So he almost pushed us away from.
Was he?
Work he was.
He was the one that immigrated here. Was he like?
Yeah. Well, both our parents.
So
where are you guys from? Or
Mexico.
your parents too? Huh?
Mexico.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So that maybe that's why, huh? Because even my parents were like that, and I wasn't born here either. Yeah, and it was like school's so important.
For sure. For sure. They definitely wanted to like us to go to school and stuff on. And with me, I kind of like I had said before that I wasn't going to. I think Andy was more set out on like I'm probably gonna go more of the school route.
Yeah.
But I was like.
Yeah. So you paved your route, like you kind of like shoved it through, huh?
Well, that was aggressive. Like when I came back, I remember like so it became like, all right, that's it. I'm selling you on this now. Mm-hmm. So I came back, and it was funny because I went to his office and I grabbed like the sales reports for the entire office, the office that I actually work at right now, which is dope.
Damn, that's crazy. Full circle.
But that office had a sales report where you can see publicly where everybody's at for the year. And I remember thinking, I was like, I know these people because I grew up here and pretty much walking around this office.
Right.
Like I know these guys.
And
I look, and I just kind of like, like sized them up in a way, right? Mm-hmm. So I went over and I was like, like maybe I'm not the best, and maybe this is. Let's just say that what my dad's saying is true, and that what I'm doing is not even considered sales. But I know for sure I'm better than this person. Yeah. Like I know for a fact I could like run circles.
And he's making X amount of money, and you're like
making more money than me, right? Because I looked at my income and I was like, all right, Dad. So this is like. I came back and I was like, look, now I'm number one in the nation. Yeah. There's literally, you cannot tell me to go back and do any better than this.
Because I already hit the top.
Like this is it, And I'm telling you, like, maybe I'm not, as good as a real estate agent or this or that, right? But you got to believe that I'm better than that person. And I picked someone that I knew that he knew that also he didn't think very high. Yeah.
I won't say names. Yeah.
So I knew what his viewpoint was on that person. So I leveraged that. And I know for sure that I would run circles around this person.
Okay.
And then he goes, shit. He's like, all right, fine. Start on Monday. So I went back and it was Mike Ulibarri that I spoke to. So Mike Ulibarri was, I don't know if he's still there at LA Fitness or was around when you were there.
Maybe.
But he was the, he ran the
VP or whatever.
Yeah, he's like he's the VP and I think for the entire West Coast. He flew down to come see me to see if I would stick around.
Oh, to try to retain you.
Yeah. And it was cool. I felt like flattered.
Yeah.
But nah, I was like, I know what I want to do, man. So I got into real estate and dude, fucking first year right off the bat and started crushing it. So that was how I busted the door open for it. And then a couple of years later, Andy hated school.
Like a brother type of thing.
Exactly.
Like,
it's kind of been like that the whole way through. So with me, it was more of like I had my own. The way I was going to school, so I was going the other route, but I hated school.
Yeah.
I was just going for business, and I had my own online business like eBay, Amazon. I was flipping. I was big wholesaling, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't really making me much. I was still had credit card debt and all that stuff, so I still wasn't living right. Yeah. And I saw this guy killing it, but I was always a naturally shy person. I've always been. And this guy basically pulled me out of that, and he was like, "Look, I know the type of like person that you are. You're shy, but I think you'll do really good in real estate because you have good work ethic."
Yeah,
right.
That's what it is, though.
And that's what it was. He gave me that push and that confidence that was to say, "All right, yeah, I can do it."
Yeah.
And then literally, I think, and he gave me a time frame on it, so he really pushed me just to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the next week I was literally at the office and I was literally just there just to listen. He's like, just stay there and listen. Yeah. And just listen and learn and learn and learn. And then I did that for a few months while I got my license and then got up and running, started getting my own sales. And I ended up.
That's big brother for sure.
And I ended up being his, because I always worked as a buyer's agent. Yeah. But I ended up being his top sales buyer's agent. So that's how I kind of got into real estate. And again, he just kind of dragged me into it. Yeah. Same thing with the whole like working out stuff. Yeah. Oh shit. He actually would drag me out to start working in, and I hated working out.
So it started because of the personal training. You started.
Well, it didn't start necessarily because of the personal training, because
I was just mainly sales, like, or you already were like.
I was already in the gym. That's why it was like. That's why I was in the gym. That's why I got the job. But I was already into fitness. But the thing is that I would always bring him to the backyard to go work out with me because we had like a little gym set.
But that's what I I get you.
Same thing. He just basically he gave me that push that I needed in order to do it.
Even when he didn't want to, you're going anyway. Like that vibe. Yeah.
It was that kind of.
Well, it was because like I knew he wanted it. It's kind of like, have you ever seen like someone that wants something, they kind of look at it with like puppy dog eyes. They're like, help, right? Well, that was Andy. Like I remember we went to IHOP. And we were sitting down, and he's just like, yeah, man, I don't know, man. I don't like school, but my dad really wants me to do it. And, like this was like months of us like having this conversation.
Tying into that. And as far as like with my dad, not wanting him to be in the business, same thing. He had mentioned to me when he was pushing me, just try it. I think you'll do great. Just commit. You just really commit to it. And when I went and I just mentioned it to my dad, the first thing is like, no, no, don't do it. Not only that is that he knew that I was naturally a shy person. He's like, look, I don't think it's your thing. But I just said fuck it and went for it. And since then,
I think that proves a point though, right? Like even if like society or whatever deems like you're not cut out for it,
right?
Whether you're shy or whatever it is, I can't sell or whatever.
Yeah.
If you want it, I feel like it's proof, right? Like it's the same thing.
That's a huge point. I mean, there's a lot of people that again for sales in general.
Yeah.
I'm a perfect example, dude. I'm a naturally shy person, and he'll tell you, dude. I'm very, very shy since I was little.
Hear a funny story.
Go ahead.
But yeah, no. Basically, I'm very shy, but that just proves the point that if I can do it, there's no doubt in my mind, and that's kind of what I've helped out with some of the team members on our team, is that even if you're shy, you just got to get past that.
It's crazy because I always hear that, right? Even I catch myself saying it where I'm like, hey, if I can do it, anyone can do it. And you've heard that so many times where it hit me where it sounds like a cliche.
Yeah.
But it's the truth. Like,
it really is. Yeah.
My first experience in sales, I was canvassing as a recruiter for the Marine Corps.
Right.
Which I didn't know was sales, right? I mean, I'm bringing people in to join the Marine Corps, but in my head, it's not sales. It's just my job.
Right.
Right. And then I realized my boss at the time would be driving down Tampa, right? Main Street, and he would see a kid our age, 19, 20, just walking on the sidewalk. Go get him. I'm like, dude, you just made it look like a drive-by. I can't pull up to this dude. And then he was like, get out, go talk to him. And I would walk up to him and be like, hey, dude, my boss wants me to recruit you. If you give me a fake number, I'll leave you alone. And I would do that for weeks.
Oh, he's got a story just like that.
Is that the story you're talking about?
Well, you know which one I'm going to go. All right, so
Like,
just to tell you, right? So like everybody has their own rough patch. So it's very similar to that, where it's just kind of like, damn, I'm just a little shy about the position. So Andy's like really analytical and also like, you know, hold on, wait, I gotta make sure all my surroundings are perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
And I'll take action. I just need to like that's it, him pumping himself up, right? So we get, you know, he comes in and I'm teaching him like, come on, and I'm like, you just gotta do it, bro. Like you just have call reluctance. Like you're just, you know, it's called creative avoidance. It's where like you'll creatively come up with reasons why you shouldn't be calling or doing what you need to be doing right now because you don't like the task that you have to get done. I got it. Don't worry. It's a mindset thing. We'll get through that. So I'm trying to like help him out with it, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it. I just need to know a little bit more, and I'm fine. I know how I work, right? Like this is him selling me on it, right? So, but he's shy, right? Like he's just
That's my excuse for.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, a perfect example. My first calls. The second I heard someone on the other phone, I'd ring. They answered. I click. I'm just like, I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And then he has another story, which is I think the one that you're touching on, but that one was.
So he's making
Worse.
calls, right? And you know, you're doing telephone sales, right? You're calling people up and asking if they're interested in, you know, your service. In this case, we're talking about real estate. Well, he's making his calls and he gets on the phone with somebody and he talks to them and they say, "Oh, yeah, hold on, let me call you right back." And he's like, "Oh, all right, cool." So he hangs up. And that was the call. It was just like, hey, I was calling. I'm a real estate agent, and I was just calling to see if you like. And they said, oh yeah, hold on, let me call you right back. So he's like, okay, hangs up, and then I see him walk out of like his little station, and he goes and he sits down in the center of the table, and he's just like this. And he puts his phone right next to him, and he's like this, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And then he's like,
he's not calling you back.
Yeah, he tells me he's like,
He said he'll come.
I'm waiting for a call back. I just talked to somebody that said that they're coming back in a second. I'm like,
How long did he wait?
well, no. It's funny because I'm like, Andy, they're not going to call you back. And then, no, but you should see his response. He's like, of course they're going to call me back. If they're not going to call me back, then why would they say it? And he's like this, and he's like, dude, watch your own self. I got this. So he sits there just waiting for like another like 20 minutes. And he's like, and I'm over there. I'm like, all right, cool. So I walk away and I just keep looking over at him. And then he comes back over. He's like, they didn't call me back.
And that's the joke of the dad going for milk. I'll be right back. I'm gonna get milk. Doesn't come back.
I don't know what that's like.
I'm dead. Yeah. Anyway.
Bro,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just funny.
That just basically shows, and now I actually can teach that to a lot of, let's say, new people that come in. That same.
But when you started, it's like how
because I can relate to it, and that's a
Yeah.
really good way to kind of to be able to teach someone, right?
Yeah.
Is saying that you've been through it. I know exactly what you're going through, and this is how you get through it.
Yeah. I think that's very similar to me because I was I didn't do that, but
Yeah.
I did. I was like that, like personality wise. I was very introverted. I still am now. Like I still don't like. If you see like how I act in the office, like when people call me, I'm like, fuck. Hello. Right, and I get like, I don't know if it's you or if it happens to you too, but I get like, not anxiety, but I'm like, oh crap. Hello.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? But yeah, I think it is a good way to teach because you've personally, it's like the whole, like the way you sell is like to be able to, I guess, empathize, right? With who you're talking to, or like, cause that's the only way you actually understand is I always hear like objections where someone gives you a concern and they're like, I understand, but this, you're just saying that to brush me off. Right. And when you actually understand somebody, you can kind of feel it.
Right.
And maybe that's how it works for your guys too.
Like there's a pattern to it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a pattern to people that are brushing you off and everything else.
All right, but I did want to ask, like, how? So you grew the business, you took over, I guess. You built the business after like when you entered, right? And how did that work out?
So what ended up happening, so I we didn't really elaborate as far as like what we actually do and stuff. So what happened is that my dad's a realtor, or was a realtor, but at the time that I had gotten into it, he actually was already moving on to flips. Like he was just getting started in doing fix and flip properties. I was getting into real estate as a realtor. I joined in with my dad, and he's coaching me and helping me out throughout the process to help me get going and stuff. And then I started to take off. And what happened is like within 6 months, like I was already out producing the little group that we had, right? Or he had. And then it became clear, like, okay, there's a shift that's happening, and it's like happening really quickly. So it was time to like staff up and get more admin people. He was really focused more on the flip side of things. Like my dad's a beast. He would have crushed it in sales and would have ran circles around like, me and everything else. But because he was focused on something else, it came up to where it started flipping
the load
real quick.
comes off to you.
Exactly. And then he's like, well, shit, I'm cool with doing flips. I like this a whole lot more anyways. So when it came time to getting new admin, then he says like, well, we need more admin if you want to get it. No, as a matter of fact, he didn't even say if you want to get it. He's like, here's an administrative person and another rep, like you need an assistant. And here's the bill. I'm like, I don't sign up for this just yet. I didn't want to, like, I was a little still nervous, right? Because I wasn't used to the income yet. So that's how it started to happen. And then by the end of that year, it was like, all right, well, we're going to split up the expenses and everything else. And then we'll just be partners on this. And then with time, then I started to grow it out. And then I basically just ended up taking control of the business.
So it went from him not wanting you to do it to you.
Now you're his business partner.
Yeah, business partner and everything.
But I get it. Like my dad was looking out for us. He wants to make sure that we have a little bit more of like security, because you have no idea
if it's going to go well or not.
If it's going to go well or not.
Yeah.
Right? Like I would probably done the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's true because of the way you are, though, right? It's like whenever we talk about security, I feel like I have security, and more than me waiting tables. Like I used to wait tables. I used to bartend. I used to serve in the Marine Corps. That's a paycheck I know I'm going to get nonetheless, and that's what people's version of security is, right? But it's the same sense where, like, I know even when I started in this industry, my mom's like, "Why would you do that? Like, you joined the Marine Corps to pay for school. Why are you dropping out?" And we got in a huge fight. I didn't talk to her for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And the security, I think you said you would go back and do it again, because I think if someone really wants something, they're going to push for it, and then you create that security, right? Where you hear now where everyone that, even when I started, they're like, hey, you have no job security. You don't even have income. You don't have anything. But when you do work for it, I feel like you create that stability, which is what I want to push in and say.
Yeah, it's kind of like you put the responsibility on yourself. Like, I trust me more than anybody,
Exactly.
I trust my own efforts and my abilities and stuff.
Because I say this, like, if you're gonna bet on anything, bet on you, right?
Yeah.
And if you start, that's what you have to bet on. Like when I first started, I had weeks no sales. It was my first time transitioning into full commission. I'm like, fuck. Right? I had like roughly 3 months worth of income left. I had just got a mortgage, and that I was like, damn, I can't afford this. And I would go to sleep screaming, like, I'm gonna lose the house I just bought it. But
you need that pressure a lot of
and I feel like that helps too.
100%.
Right?
Yeah, I agree. That pressure just when you don't really have a choice.
I mean,
like back against the wall. Like that's that whole conversation that The Rock had with the Lakers, right? I don't know if you saw that video where Dwayne The Rock, he's at the Lakers organization. I don't know where, but he's talking to the Laker organization and all the players. And he goes, every morning I wake up, put my back against the fucking wall. You know how he talks. He's like, I put my back against this, and I know I can only move forward. And I don't know if that's for everybody, because some people with that pressure, they break, right?
Yeah.
But if you have that mentality, I feel like it does propel you.
The other thing too is that you're like you put yourself in a vulnerable situation, right? So like I can tell by the way that you kind of like cover that stuff that you don't mind being vulnerable, and that's like a huge part of it too, because if you can express vulnerability, like most people are usually too prideful to show like that they're in a tough spot or something. But if you allow yourself to feel and actually look like, if you're real with yourself, like, oh shit, I'm in a tough spot right now, and you actually acknowledge it, then you get a fire under your ass versus like you being like,
I see.
like you, like a lot of people try to like front in front of their friends, like, oh, you know, I'm all right, or I'm this and that. Like if you're more vulnerable, then you'll allow yourself to feel the pain that you need to feel in order for you to take action. You know what I mean?
Nice. Damn.
Reflection, I guess.
I've never,
because I never heard it like that.
Yeah.
I understood it where it was like, I never, you know, I didn't go around advertising like, yo, I'm struggling. But when within me, like obviously
being real with yourself.
Yeah, I was, that's what you mean, right? It's like to like reflect, take the time to reflect and be like, holy crap.
Yeah, self-reflection.
Damn, that's crazy.
What you need to work on.
Oh, think about it like that?
Yeah. I've had some moments where it like really smacked. If you want to hear, I'll tell you like there was a turning point.
That's what we wanted to get into too. Is like, obviously there's a huge amount of success that you guys have been able to create for yourself. Were there any hardships?
So I know exactly what it was for me. Like there was a moment where literally everything changed for me, just like that, dude.
Down, up.
Well, it
went like down, then went up.
Yeah, like I hit my breaking point. I hit my bottom, right? I hit that bottom that I never wanted to experience, and I hold that experience like really close to my heart because I know what I felt, and I never want to feel it again, right?
That's Daniel.
So like me, think just to kind of like give you an understanding of where I was at mentally at the time. I told you
what
since
time
I was like 8 years old.
Are you already in the business?
No, I'll tell you exactly where I'm at. So I'm 8 years old, right?
Oh,
so I'm not. This is the breaking point. Didn't happen at 8 years old. I'm just kind of bringing you down the storyline. So I'm 8 years old. I start going to meetings, and I start getting inspired by what I'm seeing in meetings. Right? I'm listening to a lot of like great mentors. Right? Like we're talking about like Jim Rohn, if you're familiar with him. He's like Tony Robbins' mentor. And I was getting like access to him, like where I got to shake his hand and see him speak live and everything else. At 8 years old, bro. Andy was
taking everything in.
Yeah, dude, I got journals filled with like notes and stuff like that. Like the guy, if you know who Jim Rohn is, he is the most simplest mentor you'll ever meet. He makes things so simple. The way that he puts it, he phrases things to where it's like, man, that makes sense. So powerful of a human being. He inspired tons of people, but he's just old and he passed away, unfortunately. But he's the one that basically created the monster that we all know of as Tony Robbins, right? So that guy he's just insane, right? And my mentor, my direct mentor was his mentee, like direct mentee. Like he spoke at his funeral. So it was kind of like that bit of connection. Yes. But going back to this, I'm 8 years old. I'm going to these talks and I'm speaking. I'm seeing my mentor, which is the guy that we accidentally wired some money to.
Some money, you said.
Yeah. So he would always do these weekly talks. Every summer I was over there, right? So I get amped up. I'm thinking, you know, when you read any self-help book or anything like that, you're like, I can do this. I'm gonna be the man, right? So I'm 8 years old and I just have this self-belief in myself, right? I'm 10 years old. I'm going through this throughout all of my teenage years. So much so you get, you hit your teenager, you get puberty. Now you're not only are you like self-belief, but you're also a cocky motherfucker too, right?
With a little bit of hair.
Yeah. Yeah, with a squeaky voice, But no, what's happening, and that's what was behind a lot of the fights with me and my dad, right? So I was very confrontational with certain things and no, I can do it, not, whatever. And my dad's a successful guy, done very well for himself. And me being an arrogant young kid, I'm like, man, I don't need this, whatever. Got my ass kicked out at 17.
It's funny because we're basically polar opposites. So I never had that issue with him. And I would mess with him because he got essentially kicked out of the house.
I left. I willingly left.
Yeah,
right?
I don't need this. Like what the?
And I'm like, dude, I don't know what's your problem. Like, he's like, he's cool with me. So we're completely polar opposites. But
it's funny is that I'm like. We'll fast forward for a quick second just for this part, but I'm 17. I get kicked out, whatever, and I'm like now 25 and I'm doing all right, whatever. I come back to him. I'm like, dude, when are you gonna move out, man? I moved out when I was 17. He's like, yeah, because you're fucking dumb. It's like it's nice here. I got fucking food. I get my laundry done. Like this is great.
Just made a stupid decision.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, going back to the story though. Arrogant, dumb, aggressive. I'm 17. I leave home. I get an apartment, $400 a month. I'm doing all right. I'm in my head thinking like, dude, I'm gonna take over the world. Like, I don't need this. I'm old enough to now go out in Santa Monica.
It's like 2010.
This is 2010, 2010 to 2011. And I'm like, I'm gonna go get a job, and I'll make a little money, go to school, and then I'll find something out and I'll figure something out. But I know I'm about to take over the world. You watch, dude. I got my ass handed to me. I got kicked in the nuts several times, right? I ended up getting a job brokering tickets, like a ticket scalper, right? I started working as a personal trainer. I was fixing computers as well, and I was doing and I was working at Domino's. I was working at Domino's as well. So I had 4 jobs, and I was going to school. And like, I'm like, damn, this shit sucks, because as soon as you get a little bit of money, fucking car breaks down, or books. When you get, I need money for books. And then you realize that you're failing books because you got 4 jobs that you're trying to work at the same time. So all this stuff is kind of going on at the same time. And I'm starting to feel like a little bit down. I'm like, all right, well, got to figure this out. And as a personal trainer, I started doing well over here. And then they showed me like my income potential, right? The exciting income that never came.
Yeah. You're getting sold a dream.
Yep.
Yeah. So I end up getting rid of my other jobs, thinking that I'm going to make a lot more money over here. And then I get all excited about the opportunity. I stopped going to school too. And now I'm working as a personal trainer, and I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm not making anywhere near the money that I thought I was supposed to be making. I'm like, man, this kind of sucks. And my car breaks down. Like, I started finally making a little bit of money, but I literally crashed my car, like totaled it now. And I'm like, damn, I finally filled up my bank account a little bit of money. Now I got to, fix this issue. So I was feeling like a real low, but I was, again, from a high, right? Just from being an arrogant, 17-year-old to now feeling a low, so much so where I was too prideful to even mention this, because I was struggling at that time to where I actually lost weight. Like Andy remembers it. Like because I was a little bit like stockier, and then I was out there and I was
work out, but you can't tell anymore.
I literally got skinny, like unhealthy skinny, right? And it's because I wasn't eating, right?
Yeah.
I had like an ice soup for dinner and shit, right?
Really?
He was
Yeah.
really
On the
prideful
ramen
to
diet.
come back. And,
Yeah, I was too prideful to just say that I was like struggling, right?
Actually, I think
At certain points, you'd hit me up. That was basically it. I mean, you would hit me up for certain things, but you're just too prideful to talk to my dad about any of that stuff.
Yeah. So I was like, shit was rough, and I think I was hitting you up because I needed help with my laundry. So I would throw my laundry, because I wasn't supposed to be using any of I'm going out, I don't need anything over here. And I was like, fuck, I don't even know how to do I literally don't even know how to do my fucking laundry. So I'm like, I would bring my clothes back, and I'm like, hey, just throw this in your fucking throw it in with your clothes. So anyways, I literally get my ass handed to me, dude, in life, and I remember exactly what happened, right? So I'm thinking top of the world for myself when I leave. I'm now in like the shitter. I'm at this gym in West LA, and I come out of the gym for a little lunch break, and I go across to this little like food place that they have, right? I'm buying a bagel, all right, and it's a peanut butter jelly bagel, not because I like it, but because it's what I could afford. It's a buck, right? Yeah. So I'm coming out of there, and I'm like, whatever, I'm being smart with my money, So I come out, and then I sit outside on the street, right? And I want to go inside yet, and I'm sitting on the sidewalk, and right across there's a business office, the same place where the bagels are at. So I'm eating my bagel, whatever, and I'm like, piece of shit bagel, I don't even like this thing. And I see this fucking badass car, and I'm telling you, like, sick. It was a Mercedes CLS 550. And I'm like, that is a nice car. So on there, I pull up my phone, I'm reading my fucking bagel, and I look up how much the payments are. I was like, I got to get that shit. So I look it up, and I look up the car, and I'm like, $900 a month at the time, or $1,200 a month, whatever it was. And I'm like, man, even if I made like more money, that'd be stupid. I'm not gonna spend my money on that, right? I'm like, And dude, right then and there, I started bawling, crying out of control.
Damn.
And literally in the middle of the street, and I'm like sobbing, and I'm fucking with my stupid little thing, and I'm just like, damn. Because what happened is that I realized I got smacked right in the gut when I realized that what I was doing right there was lowering my standards and what my visions were for me in order to not feel bad for not being able to afford that car. I was lowering my standards just to make myself feel better, and I was letting go of my dreams and my vision at that moment.
That hit me.
Yeah,
bro.
bro. I want to cry right now. Bro, I was like, God damn.
Bro, I get the chills right now because that shit makes me like emotional because it hurts so much because it's basically like I was like that was the fork in the road where I had to make a decision of like what my life was gonna be because I was literally letting it go right then and there, and I was like, and that's when I started crying, bro. And I looked like a fucking crazy person. I literally like, and I was kind of like, what am I doing here? And I remember thinking, I had a quick conversation with God, and I was like, God, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'm trying hard, you know. I'm giving it everything I've got, and I'm not getting it down. I feel like I'm going backwards, right? And I remember saying, I was like, I'll do whatever I can on my end. And I'm not saying that you're not doing your part here. I know that you're always giving blessings out. I'm just saying I can't see them. I don't know where they're at, and I'm doing whatever I can on my end. And I remember thinking, I was like, this is it. And I said, God, just give me the ability to be able to see the opportunities, right? Just let me be able to see them, and I promise you, I won't let you down. If I can see them, I will go and run after them full force, and I'll do whatever I can to take advantage of them. Anything at all that I can do on my end, I'll do my part. I promise I will do my part if you can just let me see them. And I remember, dude, it was like a fucking lightning bolt hit me, dude. I kid you not. It was like, it was instant and immediate. No, it was just instant. It was just kind of like I was like down, like right, like what's your body language when you're in a mood like that where you're in the shitter. Sure, yeah. I'm like, I'm like this. I'm crying, and I literally lightning bolt hit, and I felt God literally charge me up. I literally had my fucking sandwich, and I was like. Fucking threw that shit on the ground, and I was like, and I ran inside the fucking LA Fitness. I literally went up to every single person in there, and I said, I'm not gonna let you down, God. Like, I know that it's right there. Like, the opportunities are right there. I'm just not getting in front of them. I get it. Thank you. But it was instant, and it wasn't like that part of the conversation even happened. It was just kind of like, it was just like a known thing. And when I went in, dude, that month was literally where everything changed. I know very, very clearly where my fork in the road was, and I felt the bottom, right? Because that was like my rock bottom. But sometimes you need to experience like a massive amount of pain internally, right? Because some people can go through a different pain, but it's whatever your low is. Yeah, for me, like letting go of who I am as a person, or who I was, like who I felt I'm supposed to be and meant to be, was my rock bottom. And getting detached from it, it was like, that was my breaking point. Damn. And that's when everything changed. From then on, it was just like,
Yeah, that's what my little brother says. Like, right? We had a conversation, the four of us. We were a little drunk at Hawaii.
Yeah, the best conversations though.
Yeah, and Daniel, he wasn't like. Obviously, he wanted to do well, like like everybody does. But he says this where he's like, everybody should experience rock bottom.
100%.
And right here, I'm like, damn, I felt that.
Yeah,
for sure.
But
yeah. But bro, I'm telling you, there was so much pain associated to it. And it's just because it's whatever your rock bottom is, right? Like, everybody experiences it a little bit different.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, I would say it was more just getting in so much debt. I was in debt. I was unhappy. I had like some type of business that I was doing online, but I was just in debt. And same thing. I was like, I would buy something, but I knew I still had more debt piling on. I was just getting more credit. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, is that you can use credit cards just to get you by. Yeah. But I knew that I was struggling. Yeah. And I knew he saw that I was struggling. And I think I had some conversations with him, because he would, a perfect example, he's doing really well, and he wants to have certain experiences with me as his brother, and I can't do it because I'm basically in debt. I'm broke. Yeah. And he sees that, and he sees my struggle, and that's where he kind of just stepped in.
This is like the visa season?
I mean, it's when I was trying to take you to Ibiza,
yeah, somewhere around there. It was before that, because at that time I was already in real estate. Mm-hmm. But it was more just in the sense where I just felt like I was just the feeling of being in debt, right? So I was in debt. I really couldn't pay for much. I couldn't really. I would see him being so successful, and it would kill me inside. So he had a couple conversations with me, and he finally just let me know, look, man, I know what you're going through, and I see your struggle, and I know you can do this.
Yeah.
And he just pushed me in the right direction, and that just got me to get into the office and get the ball rolling. And he just kind of guided me through the whole way through. So I own basically everything. I know that you and your brother have that same kind of like connection because I've seen you guys.
That's why, like, when I was able to, that's why, like, I met Andy first, obviously, a while ago. So for a long time, I used to think Angel was the younger brother.
Yeah, I remember you.
Honestly, and I was like, wait, Angel's older than you? Yeah, that's my big bro.
Yeah.
But we were having conversation, and it's just like, I admire your relation. Obviously, like, your relationship together is like, I'm sure you wouldn't trade it for the world.
Which is kind of crazy because, and then I saw that in Hawaii that you guys have a similar relationship. We didn't always have the greatest relationship.
Oh shit!
Growing up, man, I honestly
talked about that.
We talked about it.
We literally, I literally at one point really hated him. I resented him.
Yeah.
But he made it a thing to fix that with me for certain things that he would do when I was younger. But that was one of those big turning moments for us in general. One is getting me into the business, and then slowly working our relationship back to.
That's what I saw with the two of you guys. So obviously, like, it's. I mean, you could sit there and say, I mean, Andy did it, right? It was because I have this conversation with my mom where it's like, hey, because you guided Daniel, he's here, and it's like, well, he did it through himself. I just gave him the proper. Not even the proper. I just gave him a little boot where I thought was necessary. Yeah. And I see that in you guys, where I see it, like, where I admire your work, where it's like, holy crap, like, this is where I want to be. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What it is that what I gave Andy was belief, right? Because I gave him belief because I could see what he's capable of, and I can see what he can do and what his weaknesses and his strengths are. But I knew where, let's say, for example, someone like my dad would say, this is not for him. I was like, no, I think it can be for him. I think it is for him. I think he just needs to, like, he needs someone to believe in him and help him just pull him out, right? Yeah. Like, everybody works a little bit differently. Some people, it's like you take it away from them and they'll come over and fight you for it, right? Yeah. Other people, it's like you just give them, like, hey, dude, here's the light at the end of the tunnel. And they'll start running in that direction, right? And that's, like, the difference between him and I, where he just needs, like, a little bit of support and, like, someone to help guide him. And the dude, I mean, literally with anything, he's one of the most consistent people you'll ever meet, right? Yeah, like, the dude, he doesn't miss a day of working out.
Bro, I go to the gym, I look for a 45 plate, and it's nowhere near, it's not at the gym anymore because it's all with him.
Yeah, he sleeps with it, dude. No, bro, like, the dude, like, fucking, like, he won't miss a day of eating his chicken either. Like, dude, he's dying from the flu, has a really, like, messed up throat. The dude blended his chicken so that way he can drink it. He's like, I'm getting my protein.
No, I feel like ever since I've actually known Andy too, he's always been like that too. I met him at the gym too, and then how I met him was like, I walked up to him and I'm like, how do I be like you? Because he was just big as fuck, and I'm like,
you're looking at,
like, we're like the same age, and I'm like, how the fuck do you look like that and I look like this?
Yeah,
how does it make sense?
You want to know?
Like eating and drinking this shit.
Yeah, my
drink that chicken.
That's how I didn't, like, have conversation with you at this point. Right. I just saw you at LA Fitness Northridge, and I don't remember who you were with, but I remember you used to always wear a shirt that was cut up. Yeah. Right, like, we all of us.
That's my thing,
right? Yeah. And then I would be like, damn, that fool's huge, right? But I'm like, fuck, 18 at the time, 19.
And he's doing like 3
and I'm like, holy shit, like, right? Yo. So I look at my friend, I'm like, hey, who's bigger? He goes, he is. I was like, fuck.
If you gotta ask, bro.
I was like, damn, because that's like, I was like, what the hell? And then when we're benching 2 plates, he's benching 3. Yeah. Like, what the?
I think my dad even texted me. He's like, "Hey, you know that kid at the gym? Yeah. He's benching 3 plates." And I'm like, "Damn!" I'm like,
that's what he warms up with.
Yeah, but that's crazy. But that does add into what he was saying, is that he actually made me realize that a lot. I have an addictive, like, once I get onto something, I'm like, I'm stuck on it, and then I won't negate from that. So as soon as I got into meal prepping, I never, like, for at least 6 months straight or 8 months straight, I had one meal prep of plan, and I never changed them. It was every 3 hours I was eating at this exact time, and I just didn't negate from it, to the point where he was saying is that
I was sick at times, and no, this was part of my plan. So I stuck to it, and so this day I still do it. I'm a little bit more flexible with now, but that's just
flexible. Dude.
in my eyes I do, because I'll have some.
No, I heard in Bali you're still ordering chicken and rice.
Yeah, I'll still do that, but I'll have a little
flexibility.
Some burgers.
Flexibility is like, oh, it's my birthday, I'm gonna have a pizza.
Chicken pizza.
Yeah, chicken pizza. I'll switch it up a little bit.
Kim posted
the
video
chicken?
of a live chicken.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, wait, Andy wants that. She's tracing.
Andy's hungry.
Damn.
Yeah, that's just the consistency that I have with it, and that he helped me realize that with working out, with eating, with now implementing that into work, and then I just knew that once I stuck to it and I understood it, that it'd play out, and that's what that's what I use with everything I do now. And
so then, what is your, the why, right? Like your reason why you do, like why you are the way you are, or like what motivates you? What's the vision? Like why do you do what you do?
For me, I guess in general, I just don't like being stuck in the same place. I always want to be progressing. If I'm stuck, I feel like you feel bored. Like let's say even at the gym, right? If you're not constantly progressing, you get bored, and it's not fun to you anymore. So for me, it's just I just want to keep progressing. I think for me, that's my actual my push is that I don't want to stay the same. Like it's just not the thing. For Angel, it might be a little bit different, but.
He's like steady Eddie, man. But it's those strengths that that once you acknowledge them and you use them to your advantage, like you understand how to apply them to different things. That's where like Andy found his success, right? Mm-hmm. For me, as far as like what motivates me is that
like what keeps you going, like what keeps you focused.
I feel like I'm a soldier for my family, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like I'm a soldier for my family, and I'm on a mission to be able to create something that my family will be able to live off of for the long run, for those that can benefit from it or those that need to benefit, right? Mm-hmm. So
it's like you guys follow Ed Milet, I assume, where he's like the one that changes the family tree.
Yeah, right? Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah, I actually posted that I reposted the words, and then I created a little video for my dad, because I feel like my dad's the one. He's the one that changed the family tree, because he's the one that really like pivoted.
Veered out, yeah.
And I feel that it's like the baton has been passed.
The torch is passed.
The torch is passed, and now someone needs to go out and finish the job, right? So it definitely, like, I feel that weight and responsibility, and it's a responsibility I put on myself, but it's just because I feel like I made a deal with God when I said, I promise you I'll take advantage of anything that I see in front of me. And then when I look around, I realize, like, once he gave me the power of being able to see, and I don't mean to like make this like religious. I believe in God, but it's not like I go to church every Sunday and stuff like that. I need to, right? But what I'm saying is that I truly felt like he heard me that day, and he gave me the power of vision, right? Mm-hmm. So once I have the power of vision, I can see all the blessings that I have around me, right? And that could be something as simple as, let's say, for example, having exposure to you guys as well, right? Because we're all on the same mission, right? And all these blessings around me, I made a deal. If I can see them, I will take advantage of them, and I will make good use of them. And that's part of my mission, right? So I feel like I'm very connected to that mission now.
Yeah, I'm glad we like have you on the podcast in general. I already knew you guys were like, I met you one time. We were probably like drunk at the party and stuff, but like I've already, like, from what he's told me, like the Hawaii trip and stuff, that you're great at conversations and stuff. You're able to bring like fire to the thing. So when he told us we were gonna have you, I was like, this is something that I was kind of more excited for. I know for us, like, we already know each other, kind of like where we are and where we're going. But for the people out there, if you can give them any type of advice or give them something where they can kind of like learn from or anything, what's something that you guys would give them?
I would say, like, feed your mind before anything, right? Because your mind is like your mind is everything. Your mindset, the way that you look at things, like you can look at things like we're like a half, what is it? Your glass half empty, glass half full, right? So it's how you look at things. You can look at things like, man, I'm getting kicked in the nuts, my life sucks, or it's like, man, I'm getting an opportunity to prove what I'm about, right? Or I'm getting an opportunity to learn, and I'm never going to make that same mistake again, right? And if you look at, let's say, someone like Andy, where his start was a lot slower than, let's say, my start, And it was just because, again, different personalities, different styles, right? But Andy's steady Eddie, right? Like Andy's steady Eddie as in like he's the tortoise in every single, like in the race, right? And he'll always like move forward, and he doesn't usually make the same mistakes twice. Like he learns from them right away, and he just keeps going. And he's also not very like he doesn't look in any direction. It's like the fucking Terminator. He just kind of keeps going in that same direction, right? Like he's fucking
the swimmer who got second place with Michael Phelps.
Yeah.
The dude's looking
Yeah.
left, and Michael Phelps is straight ahead.
yeah. Andy probably never noticed anybody else that was at the gym. Like you know, like you looking at him, like Andy ain't
Well,
fucking looking.
Everyone noticed him.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, but that's one of Andy's qualities, right? Like he's steady Eddie, and he's focused, and he'll continue going. But he also doesn't have, let's say, for example, like we noticed this as we're starting to do this new venture. We realized that like we have different strengths and weaknesses. Where I realized that I can manage a lot of chaos and shit going on. Where let's say Andy, that's not his strongest suit. His strong suit is like he can go really deep and dive into something. Where I still have like the attention span of like you know, dog squirrel, right? So,
That's for sure me.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm working and I never close my door.
I think it's a big brother thing, bro.
Yeah, maybe. But it's like they come in like, hey, do you want to? I'm like, oh shit, okay. I'm on the screen. Like, what was I doing?
Yeah.
Ah, crap, and I can't.
Yeah, you can't regroup sometimes.
Like, damn.
The advice I would say mindset, focus, and I'm gonna give you a specific mentor, right? So you heard me mention Jim Rohn, hands down. Excuse me. You made me drink that soda, dude. So, now, Jim Rohn is the easiest mentor that you'll ever like get to listen to, and he works as a mentor. When he's talking, you feel like he's talking to you personally. When he's speaking to an audience, you also he'll put a message so simple that you can't miss the message. And the beautiful thing about the way that he puts things is that it grows with you. So you as you develop and you grow as a person, you'll realize that message that he gave you like 3-4 years ago, like for me it was like 10 years ago, it grows with you because it has a different meaning when you listen to it again a year later.
Oh, different.
Because you're in a different place and you hear that same message and it's like, it hit me completely different this time. It's so crazy, but it never gets old. Whenever I'm like having a little bit of doubt, whenever I'm having a little bit of trouble, I always revert back to the simple basics of that mentor.
Yeah.
And he's the king, dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I knew, so obviously like we in like self-development, you hear a lot of not the same things, but it all like correlates, right? Where it's like feed your mind or whatever the case is. Like, I don't know, speaking to you guys today, I already heard this, but it's like coming from a different perspective. Like this is the goal we wanted to accomplish, but every time this is the goal, I've always went this route. Like today, you guys have showed me like this route is also like the way you're explaining things.
It's a different way.
It's a different way of looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And another thing that also just came to mind, and it's funny because you have the poster on the other side. It says, you know, don't be afraid to take the risk, right? So as you start, you know, moving forward, you know, push harder, right? Like don't be afraid to go all in, right? So that was like one of the big things. Like I had a good real estate sales business, and then I started doing something that was very scary, right? Where all of a sudden I started saying like, all right, well, let me see if I can start fixing and flipping and doing some more real estate acquisition stuff. And I started doing it nationwide, right? Damn. That was scary, bro. That was scary. And I remember thinking, I was talking to Andy, I was like, I'm excited, but you know another word for excited? Nervous as shit. You know? I was like, so I was doing it and I was going all in. I was throwing a bunch of money at stuff that, you know, theoretically sounded good, but I wasn't sure if it was going to work out. And then literally, even when shit got rough, you keep pushing and you keep doing it because as long as you have self-belief in yourself, because the mindset's right.
Yeah. Like regardless of what's happening around you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you push beyond those issues, and then what ends up like that was gold. It was almost to the point where I like on that specific note, and that when I went into that business side of it,
yeah,
bro, I was getting close to where I was like, oh shit, this isn't working out, and I was getting really really close. And then literally my team started to dissipate as well. And I remember thinking, I was like, you know what? I'm fucking not giving up and I'm going all in. And like literally, like Andy will tell you, like my team started to like wander out. And like I said, fuck it, I'll do it all myself. And I didn't, like I fucking went in and was able to turn everything around to where it it completely blew up. Like it blew up like crazy.
Damn.
But it was that story. You've heard the story of like 3 feet from gold, right?
Go ahead.
Bro, so this is a good story, and this is always a good reminder, right? So, and I'm gonna botch it up because I'm not reading it right, but there's back in the day when these guys are mining for oil is gold, right? So what ends up happening is that these guys end up going all in on mining, and then they just kept digging and kept digging and kept missing and kept missing and kept missing, and they keep digging and they keep digging. And finally, they basically get tired of digging, and they've been digging for months and months and months, like maybe years, but nothing's coming back out of it. And they said, you know what, time to hang it up. You know, it is what it is. We tried. They sell it to somebody else that's also in the business, and that person literally takes over and digs 3 feet deeper and hit oil. Oh, and that guy became ridiculously rich, and the other guy out the business. Shit. And it was 3 feet from gold, right? Damn. So I always think back to that story when it's like, you know that you have the self-belief in yourself, like you know that you're on the right path, but for some reason it hasn't clicked yet. Just keep going. Just fucking keep going.
Damn. Bombs.
Yeah. we did get the bomb.
Yeah. Just boom. One thing I do want to talk to you guys about, and it's something that like I was kind of like motivated about when I went to your party. And it will always stick. Like I'm very like family oriented, and I know you guys are too. I know you. I don't know if you guys saw it up there, but I really want to talk about like how you guys came across. So if you guys don't know them, which a lot of you guys don't. If you do, I believe your father owned one of the houses that is right here, right? So the father owns this house. Then Angel bought the house next door. And then Andy recently bought the other house right next door. So they own all three together, and they broke the whole backyard down, right?
Right.
So it's just one big ass backyard. How did that happen? Like, can you guys explain that? Because that's fucking awesome. If I can do that with my family one day, like that is actually incredible. So it's something that like motivated me. Like, can you guys just explain how that happened? Like, why? You know?
Why? How? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all started at us living with our dad, right?
That's the house you grew up in?
That's the house that we basically grew up. Well, we grew up in Sylmar originally. I was much smaller at that time, and then we moved to Castaic, and then we came.
And then you don't have to give the last one out, but.
Oh yeah, then we moved over to where we are now.
Exactly.
And then just going into the story again, he actually again started doing really well in the business and was able to buy his first home.
Was that your goal? Like, I'm gonna buy the house next door.
No, so it happened by accident. I actually wanted to. So I was like, I got into real estate and I started doing well. And I was like, I rent an apartment. I was like, why the fuck am I renting an apartment? I was thinking, I was like, nah, that was stupid. Let me go see if I can go find a house. And I found a house that was a fixture, fixed it up, and then lived in it. Right. So that was in Granada Hills. Right. So I'm in Granada Hills, and then the neighbor basically lets us know that she wants to sell her house, and we're real estate agents. So she's like, hey, can you guys tell me how much I can sell it for? Can you guys sell it for me? I was like, well, shit, not only can I tell you how much you can sell it for, I'll actually buy it. Right. And when that happened, like, you know, it was kind of like an idea and everything else. Yeah. But she's like, yeah, I'll sell it, but I need to sell it quick. And the house is a shithole. Right. Like the house is a total shithole. Right. But I was like, damn, I got my house here in Granada Hills. So I was real comfortable. And that was an uncomfortable move because I was still newer to real estate, right? Like I wasn't like, you know, I've had my house for like 6 years or something like that now. That the one that I'm living in now, 7 years. But it was total fixture. So I couldn't get financing on it. So that means that I had to come in with a lot of money down. Yeah. So I had to sell my other house. So she says, all right, fine, I'll let you buy it. I'll wait for you, but you got 3 months. So I had to basically decide to sell the house that I was living in and get it all prepped up and get it sold.
Get the funds.
Yeah, to get the funds to move them over to the other house. And I did. And then once I moved in, the house started caving in. Like the roof caved in. Like it was bad. Yeah. Like
that's why she wanted to get out.
Yeah. I was like, what have I done? You know? My house is like, you know, I put money into it and stuff like that. So now it's like,
you
I love my house.
It for a while. Like
I lived with it
for a shithole for a good while.
Damn.
To fix it up to where he wanted it to be, right?
You lived in it, even though you
Yeah.
could have moved next door and like for like.
I wasn't gonna move back out.
Oh damn,
Bro, like,
you're
growing
still
up-
in that mindset. I'm never coming back.
No, well, you know what it was is that I just
You went back with me for a little bit, actually.
no, when I yeah. No, so what ended up happening is I moved. All right, so I moved into the house next door. The house is a shithole, and I'm trying to get the property fixed up. Dude, it took me 3 years to finish the renovation because the city kept having issues.
Permits and stuff.
Andy got the house across the street. We were able to like there was a foreclosure across the street, so we like jumped on that.
Oh, yeah.
Andy got the
Jumped right
boot
on
out of
that
the
one.
house. He's like, "Yo, this house just came up.
Yeah.
Boom, get
It
the
was
fuck
actually
out."
like a few houses down the corner, right?
Yeah.
So we were already kind of like at that point we were already kind of
In the
close,
neighborhood.
like in the neighborhood, so we were
Yeah.
walking distance. It was
Yeah.
already cool as it was, and then what happened after that is just well, let me step back a little bit. So Angel ended up moving into the house right next to my dad, and years back, the neighbor had actually given us the option to buy the other property.
This one.
Yeah, the one that I currently live
Yeah.
at now.
Because he's our friend.
Yeah, because no, we're talking about before when my dad actually wanted the house and missed out on it.
Oh yeah, well that was because I was supposed to buy that one,
Yeah.
but that one was already fixed up. I didn't want to buy anything that would have been a bad investment. Fucking house ended up doubling in price.
So we missed out on it back then, and then what happened then is that we actually knew the neighbor really well next door, and he makes really good money, and he basically found, it's kind of funny how it's set up now. So he actually bought the house. So here's my dad, here's Angel, one other house is just a neighbor, and he buys the house one house over.
One house
right?
over.
So he found a nicer and bigger house, like
One-
3 houses
in the
down,
same street.
and
Yeah.
he just lets us know because he knows us really well. He's like, hey,
This is
I'm
gonna
gonna
buy
selling
that
the
house. I'm
And
selling
this
this
guy,
here.
I get back from Miami one day, and then he's just like, "Yo, Ronnie's selling up his house. He's selling his house.
He's like, I got
And-
the cash. Give
And I
me a
was like,
second.
You're buying it." And I'm just
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck do you mean?" Like, I just came back from Miami. I was not thinking about anything. I was comfortable in my place. He's like, "You're buying the house." I'm like, "Fuck it, yeah, I'm down. I can't give up on that opportunity because we've always wanted."
Boom,
that,
boom, boom.
Yeah, to have that.
That's
right
what that
next
was
to
a
each
goal
other.
you guys had. It was just like,
Well,
was it a
because
goal
When
when
did-
you
yeah,
took
when
that
it's-
step?
we
did it start when
would
you
always
did that?
talk about how we missed out on having that house next door because I was supposed to get that one before I got the one that I live in, but it was more expensive and it was already fixed up. So I was like, "There's no opportunity here to like fix it up and
Yeah.
make it a worthwhile investment." So I was like, "Fuck that." The guy that bought it, and we ended up becoming good friends with him, and he came up on another property and hit me up to sell that one, and I was like,
this one.
yeah, he's like, so we're
He's like,
we're
"I
like,
get you
holy
wanna
shit, is
do
this
that,
happening?
but
Are
what's
we
the-
are we gonna get a second shot at getting this property? And luckily, like we were all doing good. Like it's also when crypto was like
Another story.
fucking Andy's
So,
making
yeah.
$100,000 a month on
Yeah,
crypto and shit.
That's
So, it was like perfect timing. The perfect storm hit, and we just said, you know what, fuck it, let's go for it.
Yeah, and it works out perfectly. And yeah, like you said, we are very family oriented, as you noticed. So we have no problem with that. We love,
Yeah.
we love throwing parties, as
Yeah.
you noticed. But now it's kind of cool because now we can literally share
Backyards.
the backyards. They kick us out of one, we'll just move into the
Yeah,
next
when we
one.
have parties, it's awesome. Like when we have parties,
complaining.
Yeah,
Like what
exactly.
Drake said, huh?
No,
The
it's-
neighbors complain about that.
That neighbor's an asshole.
the cops come over. We're like, everybody just go to the next door. So we
no
spread the
warning.
warning.
Back
We always get a
confused,
warning, right? Every house gets its own warning before they shut it down.
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, because I remember, I don't remember who told me that. Someone told me it was that way, and I just couldn't. I couldn't like.
Can you visualize it? Like
No, of course you like. I'm a very visual learner, so even when I run meetings, like
Yeah, draws
I have to draw shit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like, okay, there's a lot here, a lot here, a lot here, backyard. Holy shit!
Yeah.
It was just like holy crap.
Yeah.
So you're talking about you broke this wall down, that wall down.
Well-
now it's a big.
Well, we didn't break down the walls. Like the walls are still there. What we
Yeah.
did is we put a gate all the way
Yeah,
in the
it's-
back.
yeah, so you can open and
so
close.
just
Yeah,
a
yeah.
slider gate. Yeah, so we can access each other's yards.
It's
when
just
we're
the
having
back.
parties.
Yeah, I was like, damn.
Far back, yeah. But we also have like doors in between too. So we have in my house I got 3 doors that open up into my dad's. One in the far back. We have the gate 2 actually.
Wait, the houses connect, or the houses are separate?
No, they're
They're
separate. They're
separate,
separate.
yeah.
Like there's like they're large lots, so like it still feels like we got our privacy.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
But we have access like doors
Uh-huh.
where we can, open up and just go straight into the house versus going to the street and then coming
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
right? So we can,
That's
instead of hopping a
awesome.
fence.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Block party soon.
Yeah.
Bro, it's fun, man. It's
Yeah.
honestly like it's a blessing, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
That's for sure been one of our goals, but to be honest, my dad, that he's always
Yeah.
talked about it, and he just
Yeah.
because we're very family oriented. So we always want to stay close.
We sandwiched them.
Yeah. So now we're just.
And then that's where you guys have that viral video from the quinceañera, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's in the backyard. Yeah.
So they threw a crazy quinceañera for their younger sister, and they like obviously you guys already had the 3 backyards.
Yeah.
So
there were cars in the backyard. I saw cars. I saw horses. I saw.
Yeah. He went all out.
Yeah. That's like his little baby, huh?
That's his first daughter. Yeah. So she's turning 15. So he just went all out.
Andy, notice how Andy just avoided the question. That's his baby. He goes, "Nah, I'm the baby." He's like, "Nah." He's like, "That's his first daughter, but not his baby. That's his first daughter."
Well, shit! Congratulations on all your success.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy.
That's
so.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for being like I don't know. I think what I'm just picturing now is like, I know you're not done, right? I know you're not done, and you know, take over the world too.
Yeah.
So
we're just warming up, baby.
Yeah. So I see like hopefully in the near future, like as we continue, we'll have you on wherever you're at that point, and then there'll be another story from this point to that point, which I'm sure you'll be able to tell, but. Like, I feel inspired.
Yeah, me too. I want to go there and just be like, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
I hope you guys were able to learn a couple things or two. Like we said before, this podcast is mainly for you guys. We, don't want to bring on, we do want to bring on people that you guys know, but we want to also bring on people that are, as humble as they are. People go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, people as humble as they are, and people that are just like, you don't know the success that they have until you hear their story. So with that being said, just, with everybody watching, like I said, I hope you guys really did learn something today. Thank you guys, Andy, Angel, for being here. It was an amazing story. I'm inspired. He's inspired. I hope you guys are inspired. This is another episode of SelfPaid, and I hope you guys have a good one.
Peace.
Fire.